Hello and welcome to the Royal Survivor 45 podcast. I am your host King, joined here by King's mom.
Hello.
How you doing, Mom?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You're having a great hair day today.
Oh, thank you, dear. Yeah, I try.
So, what did we think about this past episode of Survivor, episode 9?
Kind of okay.
A little boring.
A little bit. Yeah, nothing like really where you're like, oh my gosh.
But I get why, especially after the previous episode. It was like, it kind of just makes sense, but
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so we get back from Tribal.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody saw that. Well, half the people didn't see that coming. Kendra is. I love this editing. I think it's so funny. Kendra's sitting there and she's like crying because Kelly was her best friend that she just loved so much. And then she's like, "This is horrible. I feel betrayed." And then it cuts to everybody else celebrating. Basically,
Yeah.
you know, the 5 people who voted her off. You got Jake, who's just super giddy, and then Katurah was like, well, as long as it's not me. You know, pretty much Kendra's like the only one who was really bothered by that. Well, Bruce wasn't happy either, but
Right.
she's the only one, like, broken about it, so.
Well, yeah, doesn't she even like toast up in the air with her water and go, "This is to you, Kelly," or something like that?
Yeah,
it's like it's not a drink. Well, it is a drink.
They act like
but-
they're sisters and it's blood versus water or something, you know? Yeah, like.
Yeah.
And I get it, she wears her heart on the sleeve and everything, but, like, did you really not expect this could happen because it's a game where people get booted one by one? You know, it seems almost too emotional for me.
Yeah,
so.
and she seems a little like, you know, how could this happen?
Yeah.
Well, did you ever watch Survivor
Mhm.
before this?
That's
You
what
know?
happens.
Yeah.
So and then we go to Bruce and he has his like moment of solidarity. At first he's bothered because he thought Kelly of his number one,
Mhm.
but then through talking, I think he's got some kind of connection with Drew. He eventually hears that she was actually gunning for him.
Yes. Yeah.
Because she wanted to vote him off, but then he won immunity. And so he's actually more hurt by the fact that the person he thought he could trust is the person that was vying to get rid of him. So
Yeah, and me, I would be like, "Pfft, good riddance then."
yeah,
You know?
he's all hurt, and it's like, well, it wasn't you though. So
Yeah.
and if
Yeah.
so I don't know. It just and it was a good play and everything. You know, she was in a good spot, so it was the right kind of time for that.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I just ate, so.
It's okay. Better out than in, I always say.
Yeah. So what's
Yeah,
next?
so Bruce, he seems like scared now.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I wrote down, is because he had her, but I don't really know who else he really thinks he has
Yeah.
where he can vote with like a group.
Right. He doesn't really. I feel like he finally realized the position he's in, because I think for a while he thought he was just fine, but everyone around him was like, "We gotta get rid of Bruce. We gotta get rid of Bruce. We gotta get rid of Bruce." You know, I mean, Katurah was like that from day one. But did you know? Did you know she wants to get rid of Bruce?
No.
I feel a little bad for her because the producers are really just saying this is her one quality. She wants him gone. We have seen nothing else of importance from Katurah ever.
Right.
So
Right.
I find it really.
She's kind of funny.
She can
you
be.
know.
It just I barely get anything out of her.
Yeah.
And so the gag is literally her. I believe her arc will be complete if she can vote Bruce off before she gets voted off.
Yeah.
Because I don't think she's winning this. So.
Yeah, she's gonna party like crazy if he gets voted off.
So, anyways, yeah, he has his moment. He thinks about the fam and all that.
Yeah.
I know Emily she's really close with Drew and Austin, but she knows they're really close to the other Rebas of Julie and Dee.
Right.
And I believe she brings it up to the boys like, hey, Dee, a lot of people are looking at her as like this big threat. Because I guess because she often is the one to decide who goes home and stuff. So,
okay.
And so she's and of course Emily doesn't want it, like she even says, I don't want to be the bottom of a 5. I want to be in the middle of a threesome. So with her and the boy. So
Ooh.
well, Emily, you know, she's a girl who knows what she wants, and she wants Drew and Austin to go to Final 3 with her. So
I would have never thought.
So she basically tells them, we gotta get Dee sooner than later, otherwise she has a good chance of winning. I mean, she says if Dee makes it to the end, she wins guaranteed. I don't think any one person is guaranteed to win this game if they make it to the end. Like,
yeah,
like
there's
even
a lot that are good.
yeah,
That could probably talk good.
yeah.
And
I mean,
yeah.
even people who may maybe not make the greatest moves, but they could talk their way to votes or
Mhm.
whatever. So. Is she a threat? Yes, but it's more so her Emily just trying to get in closer in that group, which I don't blame her for. So,
Well, and take it off of her because she feels she is the fifth.
mm-hmm.
And now, but also her throwing D out there, we learned that Austin saying there's no way.
He couldn't imagine turning out. Well, even
Mhm.
later, someone mentions. I think it's Kendra. She's like, "When this is all over, I really hope Austin and Dee get together." Or something like. I don't know if it's really a romance thing between them, but it does seem like he really likes her. So,
Mhm.
and she seems to like him too. So it just they're closer than they've even let on. And
Yeah, I don't think it's romantic.
no, no,
I really don't.
They're just saying those two are apparently together more than we thought. I think finally everyone else in the game is starting to realize that the four Rebas are together. Like for a long time, have, and I'm giving them credit for this. They seem to be doing a good job of like making people not realize because the Bells are like, let's stay together, and then they all just kept fighting and have been voting. They've almost been voting each other off too. You know, they haven't been making those sole decisions. And so I think they knew the two women and the two men were like duos because they are together a lot. But I've noticed whenever we see them, it's 2 and 2. When nobody else is around when all four are together. So they've been nobody other than like Emily knows all four are together until like now, I think, because they all voted together and everything.
Yeah.
So but it's working, you know. So
Yeah.
eventually the time will
For
come.
now it is. Yeah.
So that's like a side thing where Emily's a little like, you know, we got to start picking off a Reba here and there just for my sake, you know.
Yeah, I hope it's not to her detriment.
Well, because that's the thing. She needs to start making moves. She's been ever since the merge, she made it from her, you know, tribe falling apart, but, you know, she's got to start making moves to seem very credible at the end. Otherwise, she could wind up just coasting by, and then that doesn't make you look good enough. So, other than you don't burn any bridges, I guess. But.
Right. So, okay. Next is, I guess we're going to go to the immunity and reward.
Challenge time. Okay.
Yeah. Where they split into
3 groups of 3.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually told to do that at camp, and everyone's kind of looking at each other. Eventually, Drew says, "Why don't we just make them like balanced?"
Mm-hmm.
So they take strong guy, strong woman, and then weaker challenge person. So
So we got Julie, Kendra, and Bruce, Austin, Emily, and Katura, and Drew, Jake, and Dee.
Okay, so there's our divisions. Oh, and Jake has been telling the Rebas too, like, I'll be your dog, use me, kind of thing, you know. So he's probably, I think he even said he's like happy to be with them because he wants to be there. There's also a thing, like, they don't know what's going on. Julie tells Austin, because Austin has 2 immunity idols, she's like, you know, if we got to vote just 3 people or something, she's like, I'm a goner. So he puts one of his idols in her bag for her.
Right.
Just in case, because they don't know what's coming.
Right.
So they get to the challenge. Jeff tells them it's another one of those like obstacle course things.
Yes.
There's several things to do. Like the first thing is they need to walk across a 3-step balance beam that's also like it tilts or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then they get the ball and they put the ball in like a little dish and they rock across like a zigzagging balance beam and it can't fall off with the ball or anything.
Right.
Then they dig for ropes, and the first 2 groups of 3 to do all that, they move on to the next. It's like rounds, right?
Yeah, stages or rounds,
right.
whatever. Yeah, they have to dig up rope rings. But out of those, whoever loses that first stage, they lose their vote.
Yep. So all 3, and they get an opportunity to win it back, but
later.
But at that point, their votes are gone.
Right.
So, which is the big dramatic twist of that. So, then when we're down to just 2 groups, they have to, I believe they have to use the ropes that they have and extras to hook them across like along like beams and create like a rope bridge for themselves.
Yes.
Jeff even says you have to use all of them. So, and then the first group of 3 to make it to the end. Well, we'll say that the group who lost their vote, I believe, was Austin, Emily, and Katura, right?
Yes, they're out. Yeah.
So they're out first. They lose all their votes.
Right.
And then the group to win is the rope bridge part.
Well, that's right. Then it goes to individual.
Yeah.
That's right. But they have to throw the balls on the pegs.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's each
I
one
didn't
of
know
them.
what to call them. They're not really pegs. They're just like
They're hoops.
round,
Yeah.
like hoops, but they sit on
It hits.
there.
It
They
catches
don't
the
go through
ball,
'em.
and each person has to get one up there.
That's
so.
right. Yeah. So Julie, Kendra, and Bruce win.
Yeah.
That.
I honestly thought that team would have been out first, but they did great. So,
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, it comes down to the three of them, and we've seen this challenge a couple times. Jeff says you have like these posts, and on these posts are little wooden spheres, or plates,
Discs,
whatever,
yeah.
and you put your hands outstretched to just that your fingertips are touching, so it's measured for every person, and they just hold those discs up for as long as they can.
Excuse me. Right.
And it actually, once again, comes down to Bruce and Julie, the two oldest people.
Right.
And as much as I wanted Julie to get that win, it goes to Bruce. So he's won 2 immunities in a row.
Yep.
And he's proving himself way more dangerous than people thought he was originally. So they thought he was just some kind of goofy goober that was trying to lower his threat, and now he's proven himself a serious threat. So they win. And the three of them, even though Bruce is the only one to win immunity, that whole group of 3, they go to the sanctuary where good things happen.
Oh, that's right. They win rotisserie chicken, and that's it. That's what was weird to me.
I assume
chicken.
I assume they got like cups of water or something, but yeah, normally it's like some kind of like multiple dishes or whatever, and they just got, and it's just one chicken to rip into. It's a little
that
disappointing.
Was weird for me.
Then the other group of 3, they just go back to camp.
Right.
In which, and I saw people bitching about this. I thought it was funny. So it's Dee, Drew, and Jake. Jake wanders off while they're cooking some rice, and Drew and Dee eat, they joke, should we eat a little more because he's not around? And they do, but they end up eating more than they thought they were gonna. And then Drew's like, shit, I didn't mean to eat all of it. So they lied to him and told him they burned some of it. So
yeah, I didn't like that either.
No, it was a little like. It was rude,
bullyish,
It made me chuckle a little because they're villainous to an extent, but I see people talking about them like they're the bane of their existence. It's like, okay, easy. They're just cocky youngsters,
they're not that bad, but I thought that was in bad taste.
Right.
And Jake, I don't know.
He didn't deserve that,
no,
that's for sure.
I mean, maybe... I don't know where he went, but maybe he went to the bathroom and really, this is what you do.
You're going to eat his portion? Yeah.
Food is a big deal.
Right. Maybe they cooked him more. I don't know.
Yeah,
but yeah,
they could.
I just noted that they did almost eat his whole share or whatever that they made for themselves. Which
he had to scrape the bottom pretty much. Yeah.
So not cool, bro. But,
no.
Or bros. And then the other 3 go on an excursion. Leave it to Survivor to make because this winds up being a math problem they need to solve.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to explain the rules of it or whatever.
Well, okay, so Emily, Austin, and Katurah take a journey to earn their votes back. Mm-hmm. So it's one of that, you climb the hill and you pick a path, and then they go off separately. Well, it's a logic puzzle, You have 3 minutes. There's an equation of, I think it's 1 through 9.
It counts down from 9. Yeah, it goes 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in that order.
And you have to put in there 3 plus signs and 1 minus sign to have those numbers, the equation, equal 100.
And you can't move the numbers around. You just put the signs in there. Yeah.
Right. Now, what I was totally shocked, I thought Emily would have this in the bag.
Yeah.
And here we find out that she says, being a financial analyst, I think that's what she is. She goes, I have no math solving capabilities.
Yeah. She admits she's terrible at math.
Yeah.
And so I assume she uses calculator. So because she talked about how she was like really good at her job and it makes her think about things, and she seems quite smart. She's good in the puzzles and stuff, but she's bad at math, and you work with numbers all the time.
Yeah.
And she blows it. You know, she doesn't. She says that by the end she had no clue and just put things in randomly. Yeah. So her vote's gone.
Right.
Katurah is just wrong because I think you can check before the 3 minutes are up, but then you can't because it will show you what the answer is. So Katurah loses her vote too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was happy to see this.
Yeah.
Austin does it correctly.
Yeah.
And it's close, but he gets his vote back.
Yeah, just made it.
Because he even says, he's like, I know I look like your happy-go-lucky surfer dude. He's like, but I think I have the math skills to pull this off. So I keep saying he's smarter than you could tell. Like, you look at him and go, oh, he's going to be fit and silly. And it's like, no, this guy is smart. So
yeah, no, his looks, you can't go by his looks.
No, you
and looks,
not that you can
see, if you haven't seen it, he's just got long hair. He's a nicely built young guy.
Yeah, not that some happy-go-lucky surfer guy is guaranteed to be an idiot or something, but it is a survivor stereotype. The hot, strong guy is normally not the smartest. He's the physically fit one. But there's been Caleb was an example of that. He's a good-looking, fit guy, and he was incredibly smart.
Yes.
So it doesn't. But he like when I saw him, I'm like, oh, he comes off like woo, like just a fun guy to be around. It's like, oh, he's smart too. Great
he's
for
strategic.
him. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm that's why I'm so high on him. But yeah, so he gets his vote back.
Right.
Of course, when the three return to camp, they tell everybody all three of us lost our votes.
Right.
They just admit that to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then Austin goes to his group and says, "Oh, I got my vote." So and they're like, "Nice," because then they can control it.
Mm-hmm.
I will note that when the threesome was on the reward, because we keep splitting between these like groups now.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about. They're like, Julie, would you get rid of D? And she's like, I'd be open to it. And then in confessional, she says, no, I want to go to the end with D. Yeah. Which I get that's her closest ally, but Julie doesn't beat her in any way, shape, or form. Unless D makes everybody hate her by the end of this. And Julie hasn't done anything impressive, like gameplay-wise.
Well, okay. Well, I don't know about that. I have to disagree. For one thing, she came to... okay, gameplay. I get what you're saying. But here, 2 immunity challenges, and she's up against, she almost wins 2 of them.
Yeah.
Bruce takes it, but she's right there.
Right.
And as far as gameplay, I mean, she's with that foursome.
Yes.
And, I mean, I don't know. I could see where... people, because too, she's so likable. She's like the mom of the group, even though she's only 49.
Right.
I don't know.
It just, out of those 4, it depends on how people look at it. Every jury's different. There's some juries who played the best game. In that case, she's not winning because out of the 4 of them, the other 3 have more credibility. And Drew has a terrible social game, but he's at least strategic. Austin and Dee are more well-rounded in that regard. Of being a good strategist, participating in challenges, all that stuff. Now, if you look at who you like the most, she's now top 1 or 2 of that foursome of likability and like pleasant to be around and, could win the, hey, I like you as a person kind of factor. And so I don't know. I think her mindset of, I want to go with my buddy who's everybody sees as, oh, they got to go because they're really good at the game. I didn't, I'm like, I don't know. That's someone you burn at Final 5 just to be safe. So without letting them know you were in on it kind of thing. But we'll see. Maybe she'll change her mind or something. But she tells them, I'd be interested in getting rid of her. And then tells the audience, no way am I getting rid of her.
Right.
She tells Kendra and Bruce, what about Jake? I still want him gone. Credit to her, I will say, every time someone survives a vote that was supposed to get piled on, she goes right back, no, we're still getting rid of this person. Right. It doesn't change. She did it with Caleb and got rid of him, or when, kept pushing for that, and she wants to do it again with Jake because she knows if you survive votes like that, it makes you look better too. So technically he was saved because people just didn't vote for him. He didn't make a move like that, but still, it's something that might stick with people.
Right.
And he is a likable guy, too, so...
Yeah, and I don't get it because he's not much of a threat.
I don't see him as a threat. He's tried to make moves, which I was happy to see, and every couple of moves he makes, it's blown up in his face. It just hasn't worked out. So, yeah, I'm like, why is he such a big threat?
Well, I guess he's really not.
Yeah.
He's just someone to get rid of. Because I don't see him as a threat. And I think, he's tried to make moves, but he doesn't have people to back it up with him.
Right.
Like the Reba 4 or 5, not 4 with Emily.
4 plus 1, yeah.
They have an alliance.
Which is
he doesn't have that.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to make moves when you don't have people to make them with you.
His alliance is all scare. Of course, everyone wants Bruce out, but he won again. And his threat level keeps going up. So basically, Kendra wants D, but her and the other Bellas would be open to Jake. Dee wants Kendra out because she wants her out, it's just that simple.
Yeah, she heard that Kendra wanted her
Everyone else kind of wants Jake out, and we get to a point where it's just one of those, it's either one or the other, and so it looks like it's either Kendra or Jake.
Yeah.
You know.
Which right there, they're kind of the same.
Yeah.
They don't have people behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just someone to kind of get out of the way and move on to the next, you know.
And that's part of why it was a little boring, because it's just the problem is when you have one alliance and nobody else is working with each other, like, and they're, you know, it's funny, like, because we used to be in the alliance phase. It was always like 2 or 3 groups with people flipping around trying to whittle each other down, and then they whittle each other themselves down or whatever. And that's how it was. Then for the past 10 seasons or whatever, alliances are more like 2 people at most, and then it's just, hey, that person looks really threatening, let's all get together and get rid of them. Okay, now I don't trust any of you anymore, you know. And it was like that, and chaotic and different. Now we got both. Like, half the people are trying to play, oh, we'll play at each vote, and then the other half are going, well, we'll just take everyone else out as ourselves. So because I keep seeing, like, you just watch the show and I tell you I see, like, you know, I'm in the community, and so I just tell you what I see. And a lot of people, I don't know if they don't like the Reba 4, because I don't dislike them. A couple of them are kind of douchey at times, you know, like they're a little overly arrogant or whatever, but I don't, like, despise any of them. These people are treating these guys like, oh, they're like Russell. I can't wait for them to all get voted out. And it's like,
oh, no way.
Or they're treating it, it feels like season 1 again. These guys are the bad guys because they're working together, you know. I do understand from a fan perspective, it's a little boring when you have this group who they decide what happens. So the next few episodes might, until they turn on themselves and spice it up or whatever, it's just a matter of them going, well, who's in the way? Start knocking down the dominoes. It could go Kendra, Bruce, Katurah, you know, Jake, and then it's just them. So in terms of what, you know, the votes being so easy, I understand that's boring to watch. But you can't blame them because they're playing it smart. Right. Because if they control, why turn on each other until you have to, you know, and get yourselves that much closer to that million and everything. So
this isn't a scripted show.
Yeah, they're not putting on a performance for
us. I want to tell these people in that community or whatever is go, put yourself in their shoes. Where would you like to be? Would you like to be with Katurah on an island by herself? You know, and then you kind of got Bruce by himself, and you kind of got Jake by himself. They're not, you know, if they were smart, and Kendra, the 4 of them maybe would have tried to get Emily.
Yeah. And get her to flip.
You know, but they're not. They're just kind of sitting back. And so you got to give credit to this 4. Because they're surviving.
They've been together since, like, day 2. So, and they haven't turned on each other yet. It'll come. I guarantee at some point they have to start taking each other out, especially for their own individual performances and everything. But for right now, it's the smart thing to do. Whittle that group down until there's only 1 or 2 of them left, and then use that 1 or 2 people to help you start turning on each other or whatever. So, so yeah, it just, I get it. Why, you know, you watch it and go, well, yeah, it's either between this person, because they're both sitting ducks. But that's what you should do. That's how you win. You know, you find an alliance. That's why I hate when people don't do alliances, because I'm like, if you just work together and trust each other for a little while, you don't have to say, I'm going to take you to the end and then lie about it. Just say, how about we go final 6 or whatever, just to make sure we get there, and then fair game or whatever. We always say that. Right. That always makes sense to me. And I get it. You can't trust these people. They could turn on you at any minute, but it's like, if you just show that loyalty to each other, you all benefit from it. So
yeah.
I don't know. I just, it's the right thing.
The only problem with that is if you're in a 6 and you've got 2 powerful people and you wait till you get to that 6, then you're really fighting to stay in it, because you've got 2 people that could just run through these immunities. Right. You know.
That's something else you have to think about.
Yeah. But if you're all pretty on equal ground as far as physicality and strategy,
yeah.
You know.
Well, what we've seen so far is Dee's the only one of that 4 who's won immunity at all. You know, it looks like her and Julie are good at endurance challenges. I don't know how they'd fare, though, in, like, a really physically threatening one where, you know, you got to climb something or whatever. That's where Austin would benefit. Out of all of them, Drew would be the worst in all physicality, but he might be the best at puzzles or whatever.
Yeah.
So it depends on what, or if you got to balance stuff, that's different than endurance necessarily. So it kind of goes anyway. Not one of them is Bruce right now, where, he could power through everything maybe.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
which is why they want him out too. They don't want him to win his way to the end, because even if everybody wanted him out for so long, well, he survived all that. So
Yeah.
then he's got a chance. So,
Right.
and I get what you're saying. Maybe, you just set a number or whatever. Like, if I was on a tribe, I'd tell people, let's get to the merge and make sure we get there, and then we can take it from there kind of thing. These people that say, oh, I want to take you to the end right away, it's like, you don't know that. Once you get to that point, they could be a liability, or they could be so much better looking to jury members than you. You can't take them to the end. So don't make that promise either,
Yeah, no, and I don't like when people do that, too. When they go, I'll take you to the end. What makes you think you're getting to the end?
Mm-hmm.
They're so cocky when they do that. I
yeah,
can't stand
it's
that.
different than saying, I want to go to the end with you if
That's
we can
different.
get there. But I've
Yes.
seen it where it's like, I'll take you to the end with me. And it's like, yeah, it's like, oh, you're taking me now?
Yeah.
Because people have caught on to that and go, oh, you're taking me? Then I'm getting rid of you. So,
It's like, here, take my hand and we'll go through this together, and then I'll cut you off when we get there.
it's dark. I'm scared. Hold
Yeah.
me.
You take me? Okay. Oy.
Anyways, I know we're getting a little off topic here, but
I guess it was more exciting than we thought it was.
it's more fun to talk about what can happen than what is happening. we're thinking out the scripted version. So.
Yeah.
All right, so we get to tribal, and I will say this was funny. Jeff's talking to them about the people coming back, and possibly not having a vote, and then Kendra's like, "Wait," and he's like, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "I didn't think people would lie." She's like blown away. She didn't consider the possibility that any of those three were lying, which Austin was. So it's not a 6 people vote; it's a 7 people vote.
Right. I have to say one thing
Go
too
ahead.
that caught me was when they were talking about Kelly's blind side.
Mm-hmm.
She's over in the jury box with Caleb, and he's holding her hand and
Yeah.
almost like caressing her hand.
Oh yeah.
Because she it's like she couldn't even look at the tribal council members because it was like, oh my God, they're discussing my blind side.
She looked
I'm
like yeah.
what the hell is the matter with her?
She looked like she was at like a parent's funeral or whatever.
Yes.
Like,
it's like, get over it.
some people are like honored to be taken out in such a creative way rather than just, oh, I know it's me.
That
kind
was
of crap.
bizarre to
I
me.
know. I lost a little respect for her because it's like, it's over, sweetheart. Get over it. You lost.
Yeah.
They outplayed you. So
Yeah.
that's how it goes. You were doing the same to them. So yeah, do you want to win? Of course. But after the day of it happens, you should move on. You know, so.
Yeah. I mean, and she seemed like, she was so close to tears.
I know she looked like she break down from it.
If anything, I'd be pissed royally. I'd be mad. I wouldn't be sad, but she's, probably over here, oh, they all hurt my feelings.
No, brother.
Well, you
Feelings,
need to
schmealings.
toughen up
yeah.
here, But even with him, I mean, and I adore Caleb, but it's like, really? You're holding her hand? I don't know.
I'd at least be happy to be on the jury because it means
Yeah.
I get to be on the show longer and I get to watch all that happen. You
And
know,
you decide who wins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so at
or
least
your vote. one of
be
your-
grateful you made it that far. It means you made it halfway through and you did pretty good for yourself. So
Yeah. I just
bite me.
That was
No, yeah, I hear it. I was like that. I was like, oh, brother.
Yeah. So, but back to what you said about Kendra. Yeah, she had that wide-eyed look again. Like I just thought it. Yeah. Something. Like
Yeah.
they could have lied.
She's always felt like somebody that's like, oh, you're still here. It's because no one's gone after you yet. Not you're keeping yourself here. I'm sorry, but like she hasn't done anything impressive. So she's a nice person.
Yeah.
She just overreacts a little bit to things and coasts by.
Yeah.
And now a lot of these people that I said don't look like they're playing so much as they're just there. And when their time comes, it'll just hit. Now they're going, we're at that point. So
Right.
almost other than Kelly and Caleb, all the, the strategist people are still the ones in it. So,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
so, and I'm saying even before the jury, some of these people that were just like, hey, we're merged now and I'm gone, and it's like, yeah, because you were on a tribe that never lost. So that's why you weren't voted out yet. That was kind of it. So, anyways, I mean, we don't have to get all dramatic here. I will note one thing. When they go to vote, the two that don't have votes, they still walk up to hide it, and it just says you can't vote, go back. When Austin goes up there, as soon as he's out of their eyesight, he's like, I gotta go quick, and he scribbles the name down because he wants them to think he don't have the vote either.
Right,
so
right. That was funny.
I like that. Yeah. So, and he's right. He's
very entertaining.
Oh, he is. I think he's
in so many ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's compelling to watch, even just for being goofy. So
I kind of don't like the fact he's that close with Dee because I'm not a fan of Dee's.
No, I hope they turn on her at some point. I keep thinking, I'm like, dude, you could win this if you get rid of her.
It's the long toe for me. I'm sorry. I'm kidding.
Well, that's offensive.
I'm kidding. Anywho.
So they all vote, and Jake gets like 2 votes or something, and then
Kendra.
Yeah. Yay!
Bye-bye.
As boring as it was, I'm glad it was her compared to anybody else. It's like, your time's up. You're not playing that hard, and you got no one to back you up, so...
Right.
Just... you got outplayed by this group.
And entertainment value.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of those that are... I mean, Bruce is pretty...
He's
the
entertaining.
fact that he's winning these immunities, it's like, wow, he's stronger than I thought he was.
Yeah, he's proving it.
And then Katura's kind of funny because she constantly wants Bruce out and making these comments all the time.
Yeah.
And then Jake with that laugh of his and that Boston accent.
Yeah.
They're entertaining to me.
Yeah.
She's just kind of like...
There.
Not.
Yeah, no.
So...
Well, yeah, and... I mean, credit to... I don't know why... Like, Jeff asked him, he's like, how good does it feel to win immunity? And Bruce is like, well... And they're like... What? And Jeff's like, what do you mean? You're safe. And he's like, well, it's good to be safe, but now I look worse because I'm winning more and more. Yeah. And I get it, but be happy you're safe, because if not, he'd have to burn his idol anyway, probably, because they want to flush it. That's their priority right now, is to make him lose that idol. Mm-hmm. And he keeps winning, so even when he doesn't, he can just play that and be safe anyway. So.
Yeah. You're right.
So he's definitely proven to be a bigger threat than he was early on. So, and to his credit, so
he's almost like a there's a word name for that, and I'm not going to think of it, but like a closet strategist or something. You know what I mean? A closet, where you don't think, and then boom, there they are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I don't know the word either.
That's all right. The audience probably knows what we're saying.
I didn't take my brain vitamin this morning, so. So yeah, she's gone. We're down to 8 now, so we're getting close to the end here. We only got, let me think. We got 8, so that means probably 4 more episodes.
Right. I'll miss you.
I'll miss you. It'll take us through the end of the year, it looks like. So.
Yeah.
And then that'll be that. So, well, Mom, I'll ask you as I always ask you, who's your top 3 that you either want to win or think will win?
Okay. One that I think could possibly win is Austin. Okay. Mm-hmm. I still like Emily. Mm-hmm. I still think, even though she's not a mathematician, I still like her, and I can just the way she talks, I can almost see her maybe switching things up. Mm-hmm. And
she didn't have a vote this time, and she said, I can't make a move, so I just kind of gotta wait it out. Yeah. So, but she wants to, and she needs to. So yeah, but she could.
I gotta pick another one.
Yeah, you gotta do 3, even if you pick someone different that you didn't pick last time.
Okay, who could win? I'm gonna say, because I don't know that I want anybody else to really win.
Okay,
could win. Yeah, is Dee. Even though I don't like her, I think she could.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't like her, not as a person, You
don't like how she's playing on there and everything. Yeah,
I'm sure she's a very nice young lady, but anyway.
No, I get it. I mean, people talk about these people like they know their whole lives, so they know whether they love them or hate them, kind of thing. Yeah. It's over the top, but because I watch this one fella and him and his partner, they rank them all in order of who's most likely to win or whatever, and not that I wanted to copy that or anything, but that's why I ask you, your top 3. To see episode by episode if it changes or not, so, I'm going to say Austin. He's the one I want to see win out of everybody right now. He's the guy. I want him to pull his head out of his butt and get rid of Dee though. But other than that, I do like him. I think if he gets to the end, he could talk his way into winning for sure.
Yes.
Especially if he does like a smart idol play coming up here, because we're getting down to that point where he'll have to use them. So I hope he pulls it off.
Yeah, when they get what, Final 5?
One's Final 5. I think the Amulet one's only Final 6. So something like that. So but yeah, they don't go any further than that. So I hope he gets it to the end. Emily, definitely, she's got to make some moves, but if she can, she'll have enough credibility to make it. So, and then trying to think, he's an ass, but I like Drew. He's entertaining to watch. I think a lot of the things he said, he's like a good narrator, but it feels forced when he narrates in his confessionals that I feel like he like planned this stuff before he said it. Oh. Like he knows what he's gonna say, which is lame but funny at the same time, because like he wants to just be like, oh, I know everything, you know. Yeah. I don't think he's gonna win. He's entertaining to me because he's like that. It's like, oh my gosh, buddy, you know, like what is this, a comic book? Like, you know what's gonna happen or something. So who do I think is gonna win? I really feel like at this point, Katurah is the only one who couldn't win at Final 3. Based on everything I've seen from everyone, like, even though Bruce is against people, if he gets to the end, I think he's got a shot, you know? So even Jake, just because he's lovable. Oh, who do I think? Or who do I want? Those are the two, I'm with you. Those are the two I really like and really want to see.
Yeah. I mean, what about Bruce?
I'm going to be honest, he annoyed me early on, but now he's growing on me because of his persistence, and now he's starting to like wake up to things rather than, he seemed like to be in his like have his head up his ass, and now it seems like he's playing, you know, especially because he's winning challenges and stuff.
Yeah.
But do I want him to win?
Oh no, I mean, but do you think he could?
I think he could. I'll say Bruce. If he makes it, I think he could win.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't know if he could make it though, because everyone's so gung ho about getting rid of him. So
I should have said Bruce instead of Dee, because I would prefer to see him win than her.
Yeah. If they're especially as the only returning player, quote unquote, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and there's a story right there. Actually, when you think about it, if he pulled that out at the last tribal and said, "Look, I injured myself and went out."
Yeah.
And I thank God I got a chance to come back, and when I'm not hurt, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, even, you know, a lot of times when if you have a seasoned returning players, that's one thing. But if you have new versus returning players, normally the returning players, one, they dominate because they're used to it, and two, they're huge threats. And so the people try to get rid of them right away. In his case, he only played for half a day.
Right.
So he doesn't have, it's not like he's some master at the game because he barely played the game.
Right.
But at the same time, he still had the threat factor of, hey, you were here before, you know.
Which I thought was stupid.
Right, but they tried to pawn that on him, you know. And he did kind of act like a hot shot for a while, which is what made a couple people like, okay, buddy, you didn't play that much, you know. So it would go in his favor to say, hey, people still like wanted me out because I played before, but I barely played. And he's the only returning player on a season where there were no other returning players, you know.
Right.
Normally there would be 2 or 4 people that came back, but it was just him. So so I'll say Bruce. I'll say Austin, Emily, and Bruce right now. Okay. So as my top 3. Well, you can change it next time. That's what it's supposed to be exciting.
Because if I said Bruce, if I said, I'm switching out Bruce for D, then we have the same.
Yeah, quit copying me, would you? So, well, we have pretty good taste in Survivor players. It looks like we're similar in who we like.
Well, we're kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because we're related and, I made you. So,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's all we have to talk about here.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for listening. Hit that like button. And and as always, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.